Hello, welcome back for another exciting episode of Indie Game Social Club, the book club with no books, the accidental podcast, and an excuse to play the games you bought on Steam years ago on sale. I am today's stream master and awkward dancing bard, Brian. With me today, I have the lovely, the beautiful Ilker. Ilker, tell them who you are, what you do, and what you're up to these days.
Well, as you said, my name is Ilker. I'm from Sweden, so if my English sounds broken, it's because it is broken. I work in marketing and I play video games. That's me. I never know what to say when we do these.
Well, what's new? What have you been up to this week? You've been teaching. You've been.
I've been teaching. Yeah.
Indie gaming?
I got a little assignment from work to teach a marketing class in social media marketing, and that's been super fun actually. It's nice to give back to the community,
Yeah, absolutely.
So they had their big final tests a week ago, and I've been basically correcting their tests, which is they've done a really good job. So far, nobody has failed, if anyone's watching.
Any new gaming purchases? Start any new games? Are you still working on Yakuza, Like a Dragon, Fighting Trash?
Yeah, still working on that. Trying to think here. No, I did no purchases this week. I got a little time to play Yakuza yesterday. Other than that, I haven't played that much since last time we talked. Trying to think here, but yeah. Did some painting Warhammer last night. That was awesome.
Very nice. Yeah, between you and Simon, I've kind of reignited my love for miniature painting, and I've been
awesome.
Chipping away at my Gears of War board game set, and I'm really excited. Yeah, it's getting to a place where I'm like about halfway through, and I refuse to play without them painted.
I recently discovered that there's a Crusader Kings board game. I'm actually
interesting. Really? Is it out?
Yeah. I saw someone posted it on my Instagram.
Interesting. I got to check that. I'm very in tune with board game culture, and I have not heard that. That sounds cool. I wonder if it's like negotiation based, like Twilight Imperium, or
yeah. I mean, I guess things can happen to your king, your monarch.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know how the game plays because there's so much that goes into the computer game. So I don't know how they translated that into the board game.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a renaissance of video games being turned into board games and vice versa, and it's very exciting. It's a very exciting time to be a nerd. Love it.
Definitely.
And with that said, I am Brian. Once again, I have been playing Wandersong, our monthly game, and not much else other than that. Kind of doing some fit and finish on this Twitch channel, putting up some minutes on our stream time, slowly working our way towards affiliate status, which I'm really excited about. We got our 47th follower this week, Alaya Faya. Let me just replay that. Thank you for following.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Faya.
And then, what is it? 3 away from 50. That means we get to do custom emotes. We get to do all kinds of fun stuff for our channel. So stay tuned. We'll have a nice affiliate stream once we reach affiliate status. With that said, why don't we just hop right into our monthly discussion of Wandersong? Ilker, take it away. What's Wandersong?
What's Wandersong? You say that is. I'm reading from Wikipedia here. It is a puzzle game, puzzle adventure game. It's developed by American Canadian indie developer Greg Lobano. I would say, like as it says here, it's heavily music based. Where you are a bard called Bard, I guess. You get to a point where you have to name your stupid character, and you go on a
spoiler on Ilker's opinion of this game.
You go on a quest to basically save the world from ending, and you are, I guess, doing that by song.
Yep.
Yeah.
Welcome to Snib into chat. Hopefully you can join us shortly. We're having a party here. I'm fikaing it up in my favorite cup from Seattle. Some Ethiopia's finest.
When I moved into the apartment, they actually gave me this cup.
Ooh,
11 years ago.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Like it's a moving in cup, or you just found it in the cabinet when you moved in?
That was a moving in. It was a moving in gift from I guess from the, what do you call it, from the community, or do you call it a community? I don't know how to translate that into English.
Community. Yeah. Or what is it? We'll call it community. it's a C word for sure, but I forget what it's called.
Yeah.
Association. It's not C. Is it the condominium association? Yes.
Okay. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, with that said, it was published by who, what, and where? When?
It's published by Greg Lobanov. I guess it is mostly him, Greg, that has made the game, but there's also a composer here, Gordon McGladdery, who worked on the game as well. But we talked about this before the show. When you boot up the game, there's actually 3 names in the title. I don't remember who the third person is or what they do in the game. Sorry.
We try. We do our best. We try.
Looking at the Wikipedia, there's only 2 names here. So.
I mean, I think that's kind of the blessing and the curse of indie games, which is like there's not always as much thorough information on this stuff. But we try to do what we can.
It's easier to remember name for indie developers than AAA developers,
for sure,
because
like the
a
army.
lot of people.
yeah, definitely. We just got a message from Anna. So she won't be able to make it today. That's totally fine. Hopefully, you are with us in spirit. Yeah. What else? It's an indie game published in 2018. Seems to be relatively self-published through what I can glean from through what is it called? Humble Bundle. Like I think they published it on that, and that's how they got recognition and got their name out, right?
Yeah, because we talked about a little bit about that this week. I didn't know they actually published games. As well. Humble Bundle.
Probably it's like the indie platform for like, hey, if you want to publish your game, do you want to put us in your game in this lump of other games or something like that? I wonder how that process works.
Yeah, me neither, but it sounds good on paper. Yeah. That's.
You know what we should do? I just realized we're indie guys are so small that I'm sure if we just reached out to like a dev and just like, hey, can you join us on our Wandersong chat or whatever indie game? Wouldn't that be cool? Like if they're affable and available and hey, we have a huge following of 3 people and it's us watching our shit again. But
imagine if we would invite the developers of that Slug Cat game, and we just talk shit about
roasting them,
roasting them for 1.5 hours.
Right? No, but I think there's something cool about that. I think they're a lot more accessible than say trying to message the guy from Blizzard or something like that, Anyhow,
it would be really nice to have an interview, definitely. Maybe it would be hard to have a discussion and being objective or subjective. Yeah.
Well, I think maybe we have to think of, and this is like big brain, says Simon, outside of the witness stream. Awesome idea. Well, okay, so we could either, because our discussions are formulated not necessarily around reviews. It's just like what we like, what we didn't like about it, how well, and then our conclusion is like, how well did this developer execute on their vision, right? And so, I don't know how well they would take that or how personally they would take that, because our opinion doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But that's kind of why we do these arbitrary systems, right? Like, oh, how many pizzas is this game worth or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know, something to think about for the future.
Yeah,
enough of a offshoot there, but let's get back on track. Talk about some Wandersong. Let's start here.
Okay.
Wait, let me see. I've got my notes here. Generally speaking, did you like the game? Did you enjoy your experience with the game?
I did. I think you and I played about the same amount of the game. I don't know if you played any more today,
I
but
think I'm like 4 hours in at this point.
okay, I
Fairly
might
sure
be.
I'm at like the halfway point of the game.
Yeah, I sent you a picture when I'm in the second zone, basically chapter 3, where you're at this, I don't know, pirate island with the mermaids.
Yes.
Anywho,
So wait, you got to
we'll get to
sail
that.
around?
I didn't. But I think I'm just about to go on a sailing adventure. But generally speaking, I like the game. Yeah, I mean, it the theme for the games that we picked was wholesome, and this game definitely is wholesome.
Yeah. So for those just joining us, like our monthly book club, we decide on a theme and we all put in submissions, and the theme this month was wholesome, and Wandersong won.
Yeah. And I remember you mentioned Adventure Time, that it has some similarities. It definitely has a lot of similarities to Adventure Time. I think a lot of it in the writing of the game.
Yeah, quirky, kid friendly, but a little bit adult centric humor sometimes.
Yeah,
right.
We'll get into that because like there are some really like adult or like more serious themes hidden behind that cartoonish what do you call it, exterior
facade
of the game. Yeah, facade. Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. What about you? How what's your general opinion?
While I have plenty to complain about in this game, I have thoroughly enjoyed this game. It is just from the outset, it is so fun. And like the game is not great, but the experience is really, really fun. And it feels like I'm a kid again watching a morning cartoon, a Saturday morning cartoon. Yeah. And that's definitely that's like kind of like, I think it was the perfect game for this theme, in my opinion, in that it was great escapism considering like the clusterfuck of shit that was going on in the world and in my life. Thankfully nothing awful, but it's just like I work as a director and work has been really slow, and so video games have been an amazing escape for me. And this Wandersong game definitely helped contribute to that, so it was really nice. Yeah. The overwhelming cuteness of it. So the game, for me, it's one of those things where it's kind of unfortunate that it starts pretty slow, because if you start the game and you play it, you're like, oh, this game's pretty shallow. The controls are a little wonky.
Yeah.
And not even the gameplay, the main gameplay mechanic is sharp enough or polished enough, right? It's pretty sloppy on how to sing and stuff like that, right?
Definitely.
But the game turns into a pretty decent puzzler. And and it uses this music mechanic in very increasingly creative ways. And I'm about 4 hours in. I just started Act 4 this morning. Mm-hmm. And the game not only increases in complexity, I want to say, but it kind of just rises up. It doesn't feel flat like a lot of the games we played, but it takes you on a journey and like you kind of build on your skills. The story itself actually gets a lot more substantial. Like in the beginning, it's really hollow, and then
I would almost presume that.
There's a huge plot twist at the end of chapter 3, and then it kind of. Are we doing light spoilers?
If you want to, I
won't do story. I won't do story, but I will do gameplay plot twist.
Okay. Well, definitely, we can do that. I always say that I would go back to play these games, but after discussions, I'm like, I don't know. I know the ending. I don't like. The thing pulling me back is usually the story, and once I know the story,
okay. So then I'll just spoil it. I mean, usually if people are watching this stream, it's usually because they've played the game too, right? So if you don't care anymore, I mean, this is also halfway through the game. There's a huge plot twist in the middle where you're trying to encounter these like celestial beings in order to learn the song from them, right? And you're the hero, and you're like, hey, let's learn the song so we can bring the universe together. By the time you reach that last or the chapter 3 celestial being, right when you're asking for the song, this person comes in like yo 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 and like murders the celestial being, and then that's the actual hero. And so they're like, "Oh, I'm the hero. I'm saving the world." And you're like, "Wait, I thought I was saving the world." And then like the hero of that game ends up being like the villain because they're like, you're trying to save the world with music, and he's saying that, hey, if these big celestial beings weren't around, then the world wouldn't end or something like that, right?
Oh,
And then,
okay. But
yeah, go ahead.
is the hero the guy called Hero that you meet, who looks like Link from Legend of Zelda?
No. It
Okay,
is
because there's a guy called Hero in the second town that you
the
get
girl
to.
is
and it's like,
the hero is a girl, and I think she's someone that you meet in chapter 3.
Oh, okay, she's flirting with you in the third chapter. I
I believe so. Like just kind of testing like how hero-y you are and stuff like that, right? And then from that point on, you play shortly as a hack and slash, and
oh shit, okay,
it's actually kind of fucking cool because the singing mechanic is your sword. So you like swipe the sword with your thumb, and it feels very satisfying. Like it's clunky, but like I think it works better than the singing mechanic, and it's just really cool that it's not button smashing, but it's like you're slashing with your thumbstick.
I'm actually really glad to hear that because, like, as you mentioned, like the gameplay is pretty shallow. I think at least like when you start the game,
it is very shallow in the beginning. Yeah.
I mean, it also doesn't give you a real introduction what to do with the singing or with the dancing.
Right.
And yeah, I'm glad to hear that actually they add some type of flavor to that, because I was guessing that would probably get boring pretty fast.
Yeah, I think
because
go ahead.
That was just like get into like the music part of the game. But we can get into that in a bit if you want to.
Sure. Well, one last thing on that is just like it's to its detriment that it starts so slow. And I think when I usually look at games to see how long they are, this is a 12-hour game, which is like not short, right? Like I would have expected it to be, in my opinion, the perfect indie game with a great story and great gameplay is like no more than say 6 hours, right? Like you're in, you're out, you have a short, tight story. 10 to 12 hours is a long game, you know?
Yeah. It's...
But yeah, with that said, it's like really slow on the build. And I think if you would have gotten to like the meat of the gameplay in like 30 minutes, I think a lot of more people would have stayed with it, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move on to the sound and music design. What'd you think overall?
Overall, I think the sound and music design, like it is a game about singing and music, so it needs to be good. So far, I think it's really, really nice. There's a scene there in chapter 2, I think, when you sing at the bar, where you have to recruit people to your band. And there's actually like a really, I think there's a really nice, like a really good part there where you have you're trying to recruit the guy who plays the
violin, accordion.
No, not the violin. Accordion. Thanks.
Yeah.
And the song that you play together with him and his dead mother is really well made. I think it was like.
Yeah, I think.
Good song.
So speaking just on music, the music is very charming and it fits the visual style so well. And there are parts where like in chapter 4, there's a part where you're being really emo. And so the singing mechanic gets really like kind of mumbly and frumpy. So you're like, like he loses his confidence, and it's really stinking cute. Really, really cute.
Cool.
Yeah. And just generally speaking, like the sound design is great too. Between like subtly, like if you walk by a waterfall, you hear water. If you walk through the waterfall, you hear a little splash sound. Like the developer put a lot of care into the small sound details, and you can tell that person's very like audibly oriented in terms of their thinking.
Sure, yeah.
Because sound effects were used to great effect. I think Simon just said 12 hours is crazy long for this game. Last of Us is 15 to 20 hours. Yeah, so it's
Oh yeah, okay.
They're basically the same game.
Yeah. But it's really also really charming where you because the bard sleeps a few times
Oh my
in the
God,
game, and,
yes.
and he's like, oh,
Yeah. La la la
oh.
la la la.
He's like,
Me
la, la,
me me
la,
me
la.
me 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 me. Do re mi fa sol la ti. Like,
Yeah,
oh God,
that's
yeah.
also like a really cool detail and really cute.
Really, really cute. Yeah. And then like no one ever uses their voice. It's kind of like anime style where it's a lot like or JRPG style where it's a lot of grunts and
Sure.
exclamations and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, I had a great. The music is just phenomenal, and they have the main soundtrack, and they remix it several times in the game to like suit the mood, which is really cool. Yeah, there's nothing like I have no gripes about the music in this game and the sound design. I think it's fantastic, and it's done really well.
Yeah.
I think
It's really good.
If I were to make a objective opinion, I would say the sound design level is of like a non-indie game, whereas the visual style is of a very indie game.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, with that said, shall we talk about graphics, or you have more to say about sound and music?
Well, I mean, about the music, like the music is good, but the way you play the music, like if we talk about mechanics, maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
I played a few music rhythm games. I kind of wish they had a little bit more of that element in this game, where you actually had to play to the rhythm of the music, because I don't remember any parts where you actually like you have to play on note. There's a few parts, but like it doesn't punish you really for fucking up. And also playing on controller. I played on Nintendo Switch. Playing on controller, I think it's kind of hard to play just on the right stick and trying to like.
Yeah. Did you find out that the D-pad is way better? If you use D-pad, it's like a lot more precise. It's still clunky, but.
I did not. I didn't even realize you could use that. But that is also like a knock to the game. Like it doesn't really give you any instructions to how to play the game.
Yeah, and it's so clunky that it almost feels like you're doing it wrong, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, we'll talk about the dance, I guess. But like, I didn't know what to do with the dance either. Like,
me neither.
Is a collectible, or am I supposed to use this? Or
right. And this is for the chat, but we had a side talk about the dance, and I love the dances and the fact that that's kind of charming. Where is this just a button to do an awkward dance? And so let me just introduce 3 bards doing 3 dances for Chad. Here you go. I'm just gonna keep that on screen for a little bit, but yeah, you unlock these. You start with that middle awkward jig if you press the Y button. Yeah. And then you earn more dances later on. I don't know how, but it's just ridiculously cute.
I love the crab dance that he does.
Yeah, that's the second dance that you get. Yeah, it's adorable. Yeah, it's just again, it's oozing charm, and it does a lot of things without explaining it. Like the dialogue is very like how we would talk sometimes. Like,
sure.
But yeah, going back to the gameplay.
Yeah, I kind of wish there was more to the singing mechanic, I guess.
Same.
I like when I had to play like when you had to play a specific song, I would try to just match the rhythm and like try to make it sound good. But that also made me not pay attention to what he was saying, like because he's also singing like the song. You can actually read them, but I'm just looking at the color notes, and I'm not actually looking at what he's actually singing.
Yeah.
So I'm missing kind of the dialogue there. But
and also the fact that it's a radial semi-rhythm game, like it was hard to see what things were coming in before others. And I know there was a circle guide, but it didn't help. And that if I were to have a big gripe of this game, it's like it's a really shitty rhythm game. But at the same time, like it doesn't punish you for how shitty the controls are, you know?
Sure, but I guess it doesn't like go out to be a rhythm game. But I kind of wish they had. I kind of wish they had.
I think there was a great opportunity to have a really fun, simple rhythm game, right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, that was the one thing I wanted to talk about regarding the music mechanic.
And also, I mean, like, just going into gameplay in general, like, it's not perfect. Like the controls were really floaty, and I think maybe even thinking he designed it with mobile in mind, because I feel like the character was kind of big proportionally to the screen, right?
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, and
Is it
the
actually available on mobile? Let's see.
not. I don't think so. I think it's PC only and Switch at this point, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and navigation was really confusing. Like if you walk through a door and you end up on the other screen, the arrow points back and it makes you want to go to the other screen by accident. I've done that a few times.
Right, yeah.
And there are places where you can go jump up into the platform in the background, and it's not always clear. There's no like clear indicator on that. So like it's clunky in that regard in like game user experience. It's like it's passable at best, you know. Like platform differentiation is pretty unclear.
Yeah.
But I will say the cuteness really makes up for a lot of it. There's clever puzzle designs using the music mechanic.
Okay, so like you actually get a little more complex puzzles than the one.
Yes,
when you have to go up to like the cloud, the country, or
I think
up.
The game gets like markedly more complex once you start sailing. You encounter your first island puzzle, and that's like a little bit of memory and spatial and just like being able to identify. I'm like, whoa, this is like Little Nightmares caliber puzzle. Like it's pretty good.
Sure, yeah.
So it's weird because it seems like a steep cliff, right? Like you go from these like, I'm just kind of singing and moving the platform this way to like, oh shit, I got to remember that this is associated with that note and move over there and sing it there and stuff like that. It's pretty neat.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear that as well.
Yeah, again, it's unfortunate that a lot of people I think might give up on this game too soon, because that didn't happen until like 3 hours in, you know?
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate. But yeah, moving on to let's skip story for now, but graphics. What do you think about the art style and graphics? And Simon, feel free to chip in and chat if you can, if you want.
For sure, yeah. I would say you're going for this cutesy feeling.
Yes.
You make it really colorful. And sure, like mission accomplished, but it also everything kind of looks the same.
Yes. To its
game.
detriment. Yeah.
I like, for me it's hard to like differentiate different areas. I'm like, am I still in the same place, or like when you have to go back, or when you're trying to navigate, and like everything kind of looks the same in this world. That would be like my knock against the graphics. But then again, like it is cutesy, it is colorful. I think it's a good way to tell a story, and I think it's an effective way to tell like deeper stories or more like serious stories if you hide it behind some cutesiness. Like going back to Doki Doki Literature Club that we played, where you have to actually like, you think the game is something, but then they're telling something much deeper or something much more darker story in the background. And I think it's a cool way to lure people in. Then again, I don't know where the story heads, like where it goes afterwards.
Right. It's a little bit in the beginning. It's a little bit existential and kind of dark.
Yeah.
But they never really at least 4 hours in, they don't really lean into it too much. But yeah, it's really like, hey, look, the world's ending.
I mean, and that is
the
like
universe is ending, actually. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I mean, that is like, if you go back to like when we talked about Adventure Time, like that is also pretty cool with that show, because like it is a kids show. Like like on the exterior, it definitely is, but they're also telling this existential, the world has ended, and this like this post-apocalyptic world that they actually live in. Like when you get into deeper episodes,
right?
And yeah, I think they kind of do the same thing here. With like the overarching story.
Yeah. I think visually, I feel like they were going for a like South Park paper cutout art style.
Yeah.
Right? Because I noticed the bard has a very subtle drop shadow behind him. And if you look at the game footage, there's a little bit of a drop shadow on the platforms and stuff.
Yeah.
Mixed with like kind of like Saul Bass, low poly, kind of sharp corners look. And my gripe about that is that I think if a studio like Nintendo picked it up and published it, and to put the Paper Mario aesthetic behind it would have been like would have been so much better, right? Like, because I know what they were going for, and I just don't think they executed it right. You know, there's not enough textures. There's too much going on that it's like confusing, and they just user experience wise, it was kind of clunky.
Yeah. Like a few times they zoom in, like it gets really pixelated. I don't know if that's supposed to be there, but
not even. Yeah, exactly. It got kind of like just not even just low res, right? I feel like they could have done a little bit better with some of the textures for sure.
Yeah.
But like if they were to lean into the South Park style and add like even just like paper texture on the main character, because it looked like like some kid made it in class, right? Like give it a paper texture.
Yeah, sure. Like you talked, you mentioned Paper Mario, but you could also like go the Yoshi story.
Exactly.
Well, as well, and just like use like something that looks like real material. It doesn't even have to be paper. Like it could be something else, like plastic,
yarn and straws, that kind of stuff. But again, it's like one person, so I get it. But saying if someone, I think it's a good base idea, but you put some money and resources behind it, I think this could have really soared. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Story wise, at least where you are at, what do you think about it?
I mean, I'm not that deep into the story. Like you mentioned, there's a twist. I'm happy that the twist is there. I was kind of expecting something to happen. Like I'm expecting something much darker happening in this game. Because again, I like you have the existential, like the premise of the game is like the world is ending and you have to find the pieces of the song to I don't know, to make this goddess change your mind, I guess. I guess it's a cool premise. I like that the premise, like that story is presented in the beginning of the game and not later on. That it would be like if you play a JRPG, like that type of premise will come much later. I think it's good to introduce that early on in the game.
Yeah, I think for me, the story in the beginning was just, I expected it to be a 2-hour romp. Hey, there's Simon.
Hey.
Hello.
All right, one moment,
welcome.
Please. And I'm going to just replay the air horns. Welcome to the party.
Thank you.
Dance party here. Let's see your beautiful bearded face.
It is... I don't think I have my webcam connected actually, but I'll look into it as we talk.
Where were we, Ilker? We were talking about story.
We were talking about the story.
Yeah.
So what are your general thoughts about the story? Ryan?
Yeah, like, so I expected it to be a 2-hour romp. I expected it to be pretty shallow and just doing cute, fun things.
Yeah.
And while it started as expected, it went to a place where like it started to get a little existential, and it started to get there's a plot twist that completely subverted my expectations, and I'm actually excited to see where it goes. And while most of the time I say I'm gonna go back to it, this time I'm gonna probably get back to it as soon as the stream's done because I'm invested.
Okay, cool.
It's fun. I like the world, and I think if you don't like it by the end of chapter 3, then it's probably not for you.
Yeah.
But again, it's like it's asking a lot to be like, hey, play it for 4 hours before you decide you like it or not. You know, that's too much. A lot of people need to be sucked in from the get-go.
Definitely. But right now, I think the writing is enough to keep me interested in the game. I think the dialogues and the characters in me they're fun.
Talk about characters,
sure, let's do that.
It's like, okay, the bard itself, optimistic, very heroic, positive, fluffy, right? And then you start to in your chapter.
It's basically Simon.
Yeah, exactly. Looks exactly like
terrible
Simon.
Singing.
No, you dress the same and everything, you know.
Yeah.
You end up meeting like a ship captain, and like all the people aboard the ship, and they're really fun and charming, and they don't drink rum, but they drink coffee, and like
I love that coffee scene.
They get wasted off of coffee and stuff like that. It's really cute, and there's this really cute scene of the bard drinking coffee for the first time, and starts singing like blah, 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 and it's like really, really cute, really funny.
Laughing right out with that.
Yeah, like the story is just like the characters are just oozing personality, you know, like it's
Yeah.
really, I wouldn't say like deep, but just it's easy to love them. Much
Enough.
again, like a
Yeah.
cartoon, like very lovable characters, you know.
Yeah.
But it
sure.
feels like that is like what I think they established that like within 10 seconds into the game. Like I like first like 3-4 like chat bubbles of dialogue, speech bubbles of dialogue. I was like, okay, yeah, I know what this is, and it's gonna like I'm sure it's gonna be good writing from here on out.
Yeah.
Because they used to like, have that that rhythm and that like that snappy, fun, playful thing.
Right.
Which was super cool.
It's also like self-aware too. Like there's a point where you make friends with that witch, right? And she's kind of angsty, kind of like you know, the antithesis, opposite of you, basically, right? And then like the way you have dialogue is you use the right stick and you sing your answer to the other person, and like you sing an answer to her, and she's like, "Do you always have to answer like that?" And it's just so funny. Like she's got so much attitude, you know. It's great.
And what I like about the because I thought
Oker,
that
I
was
think you're muted.
like
Sorry.
I thought that was like
I
a
wasn't
choice
singing.
thing.
Yeah.
That like you just like any kind of like chat wheel, like you put your cursor towards like the top right or whatever, and then you like choose that like you choose that answer, but that you had to like hold these like the stick
Like yeah,
to
hold a note. Yeah.
So like because I used to like pulled it up quickly,
Yeah.
and then he just like sang half of the
Yeah.
sentence.
But you can also do like la 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 la, like you're singing every word of the sentence response, right? Yeah, it's pretty great. We just got off the heels of talking about the visual style, which I would love your opinion on, Simon, since you're a visual designer, award-winning visual designer from Sweden. And that like it's kind of like this was clearly made by a one-man team for the most part, outside of music, and they were kind of going for this paper cutout, South Parky kind of style with a bright color palette. But I can't help but think if someone with big money like Nintendo got their hands on them, like to bring a Paper Mario or Yoshi's Crafted World-esque aesthetic to it, to really kind of bring more dimensionality to it, would have been like really awesome and would have added a lot, I think.
Yeah, for sure. So I think so basically I thought like this is a low production game.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be like it's gonna be wholesome and fun, but nothing more than that. And you guys talked about I missed a little bit of you guys chatting, but you guys talked about the music, right? The sound design.
Yeah.
And how the sound design was great, but the graphics like not so much, and the gameplay like not so much. But I think the graphics are efficient. Like the graphics made the developers be able to focus so much on the music and sound and like all those like the fun script. Right?
That's a great point. Yeah.
So I think it like solves that problem of creating a game when you want to complete your vision.
That's fair. Yeah, like to that point, I would say like the music definitely punched above its weight, right? Like it's like almost AAA tier, like music thoughtfulness and like clearly thought through, and production quality was up there. Whereas, yeah, the visuals very much stayed indie, and like the perfect word for that. Oh my God, if the developer was here to talk about like calling it efficient instead of like shitty, it's like, it's great. It wasn't shitty. It just like, yeah, it could, you can definitely see where there could be improvement, but it was enough to get the job done for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at it, everything's made out of just basic shapes, right? Like you could like you draw a square, you draw a circle, like that's all it was. Like you didn't have like any. I mean, if you look at the ghost, for example, that was like the first like free form shape of their arms and legs. You can see like they are super wobbly.
Like MS
somebody
Paint.
made this.
Yeah, like like brush with soft edges. Yeah.
Right, and like nobody went in there. Nobody like cleaned that up. It was just like, oh shit, I need an arm. It can't be a block. It can't be a circle. Like let's do this.
Noodles.
So like it's I think it was just like a necessity of like making a game, realizing, oh shit, I need X, Y, Z. Make it, and then you're done, right?
Yeah. How far along did you make it through the game, Simon?
I only played like 90 minutes. I've like adulting took all of my time.
That's totally fine. Totally fine.
But I so like what you said is like we usually say that we I want to get back to games, so we don't. But this feels like such a light game. Like you don't usually like you need some kind of like mental preparedness and like commitment,
Yes.
even for like indie games. But this feels like you know you just jump in, you sing. It's easy. It's kind of fast, like and it's fun. Like you don't have like long dialogues. What scares me though, and what makes me think that I'm not gonna finish this game is the 12 hours playtime.
Yeah.
Like I have no idea how they're gonna fill that
Right.
or how they're gonna keep it fresh.
I mean, so with that said, like 12 hours if you're a completionist, 9 hours if you're like just getting through the main story. I think I'll probably get it close to between 8 and 9 hours just because I speed through dialogue and I don't do side quests and stuff like that. But yeah, I think there's a point.
Through the dialogue, you're kind of missing half of the game.
Well, I'm speed reading. still getting it, just like not soaking it in. Yeah. This is my gameplay footage showing on the stream, by the way. So you can see how fast I play. But yeah, I don't know if you were there when I was talking to Ilker about it, but in the end of the third chapter, there is a huge plot twist. That really,
I heard you.
Yeah, it elevates the game to a place where you're like, okay, all right, well, let's see where this goes. And it goes from like a charming, lighthearted romp into like, oh, it's actually got some depth, and actually the gameplay changes significantly from there. Like the puzzles get harder, and the story gets a little more intense, but still very lighthearted and still in very much spirit with the game, you know. But I'm invested, and I think I'm going to put in. I'm going to try to see it through. Actually, it's like I would love to see this as turn into a cartoon. That'd be great because the characters are so fun.
Yeah. Or maybe like since it is on a Nintendo console, maybe even show up in Smash.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be great? Just la 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 me.
Yeah, that would be awesome actually. But you said Adventure Time, and I think like this is like definitely Adventure Time, like
inspired
partially because
for sure.
of the cover, but also like the feelings and the characters.
Yes.
But when you were talking about that plot twist, I really wanted to comment on that, but I was doing laundry and also calling the police because there was a weird guy in our hallway.
Oh shit.
But it's fine. It was just a weird guy, I think. Okay. So I think like that plot twist, like where you meet the hero and the hero is the bad guy, is like super deep. I mean, well, not deep, but
it is interesting.
It's a comment on every hero you've ever played in every game ever.
Right. It's like, are you
never
the
see
bad
like
guy?
like you never see like a nuanced perspective.
Yeah.
Like used to. I mean, some games recently have started to like question. God, I can't remember.
Last of Us 2.
Right.
Oh wait, you haven't played it yet, you monster.
When you have games like that, you also have. God, I played a game. I'm not sure if it's Assassin's Creed, maybe Origin, where somebody's like, you're just doing whatever like this guy tells you to do.
Right.
And you totally are. Like, yeah, you never question it. You're just like somebody that you vaguely can trust. You know, like tells you to kill. Like it's like meeting a friend's friend, and that guy like is like, you gotta kill this guy because that guy is evil.
Yeah, and you don't question it because of the source.
Question,
yeah, and also it's a game, so why should you question it, right? You question the orders.
All following orders.
Yeah,
it's crazy. So like I thought that was like a really cool thing to like bring up in a
surprisingly deep for what it is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Where we're going back to characters, like, and again at the end of chapter 3, like the pirate keeps talking about like he's really excited to meet the mermaids, and he's like, the mermaids saved my life years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because he saved his life.
And what I love about it is that when you finally arrive and you meet the mermaids, the game doesn't really address it, but they're very kind of like gender ambiguous to the point where like you see the first mermaid and like, oh, this mermaid has surprisingly sharp masculine features. And you go to the other one and it's like, that mermaid has even more distinguishing male-like features, and then the mermaid that the pirate is actually like in love with and is reuniting with has full-on stubble and looks like a dude with mermaid tail, and they never address it. They never address a gender, which I think is fantastic, because they're not making a joke at the expense of whatever gender this mermaid identifies with. But it's just like this pirate is in love, and he like, you see the mermaid for who, like, what you see the mermaid as, but the pirate, this like yar traditional guy that loves coffee, is in love with this person that saved his life, you know, and like you see what he sees, and like he's still in love and all that. It's like really, I love the way they handled it. It was really neat.
I mean, I guess like the joke there is that you have an expectation of what a mermaid is going to look like.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But like I haven't gotten to that part yet, so it sounds like it's a good delivery.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like I didn't laugh because I'm like, ha ha ha, it's a dude that looks like a mermaid that looks like a dude. That's not why I laugh. I just laughed at the situation and like the expectations, and they were subverted. It was fantastic, you know.
It's like it feels like bits and pieces of like great ideas, or you see glimpses of a person with like a great mind, like thinking about, like, you know, like you had like, but then you have like a gameplay and you have an idea that, you know, they're limited to the like abilities of that person in like game creation or stuff like that. So it would be super fun to see like what that person could create, like with a big team or budget or whatever.
It's funny you say that, because right before this I looked it up, and he's working on another game called Chicory, and it's adorable. It's a coloring book game that plays like Zelda. So imagine playing Zelda, but you're in a black and white world, and you have to paint it with your paintbrush. Not unlike a, you know, very lighthearted theme like this, where you're saving the world with music. But Chicory, the soundtrack is being co-done by the person who made the soundtrack for Celeste, I believe. So he's working with bigger names, and I think he's making a name for himself in this, and it's really cool.
I mean, I guess I mean, there's a lot of Zelda fans out there, but like I'm guessing this guy is a big Zelda fan, because like the music mechanic is like is very reminiscent of the Ocarina of Time.
Oh, you're right.
Where you have the song that you're playing. I played around on that Ocarina. I was jamming on the Ocarina a lot when I was young.
Making your own fat beats.
Yeah, exactly. Doing my own versions of Twinkle Twinkle.
Wet ass pussy.
Well, even like when the plot twist happens, the hero that comes through is your traditional like sword wielding hero that has like you can summon. I don't know if you heard me talking about the plot twist where you get to play as a hack and slash, but like you can summon like lightning, like Link, and then like have this energy stuff, and it's cool. It's a nice break from the traditional mechanics. It's really neat. But yeah, again, I would love to see this person. If this is his first game, I want to see their sophomore effort, and I want to see him get like an army of people behind him, because I think he's got really great ideas, and I think the way he approaches storytelling is really cool too.
Yeah,
you know,
I think so too.
Yeah. So overall impression from Simon, we didn't get. Generally speaking, how do you feel about the game?
I think it's a fun game. Like, it's a fun, wholesome game that I would say it definitely fulfills its expectations, right? Like 100%, at least for me.
Yeah.
It's like everything that like the I mean, okay, so I think that what surprised me is the script and like the fun snappy humor.
Right.
But like I don't know, it just felt 100% that it was what the creator of the game wanted it to be, I think. And I'm happy that instead of doing things that didn't work, they just like made like simple choices to let the idea of the game, or to let the creative vision like being implemented or like released. And like, I mean, obviously that worked. Like he's working on a new game now
Yeah.
that looks so much better
Yeah.
and has like co-op gameplay in it, and like so it feels like he opened up the portal for him to create like creative games. I think that's cool. I have like
sure.
one gripe with it, and I played this on my computer, and I and like I fiddled with this for like 30 minutes maybe, which was these graphic settings, like the like settings, resolution settings,
Yeah.
kept like going like kept kept becoming worse and worse and worse and worse.
Oh,
So I
interesting.
played in like 180, and then like slowly it like became like 680 or like 620, and it
Huh.
just become like more and more and more and more pixelated. And I was like, what is
What?
going on? I went into
Did
the
you get?
settings, I changed it, and then I started to play again, and the same thing happened, like constantly.
Oh,
It's like
interesting.
slowly degraded, and then like I went back in, and it was like just like double checked every
Yeah.
menu option, and I
Yeah.
saw like auto resolution that
Oh,
was
how
on.
weird.
Oh,
Super
okay.
weird.
Yeah.
Never seen
Yeah.
anything like it.
Yeah.
I
Never
Why
have
heard
would
that
no
that
idea.
happen? Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
Also,
it's like,
if I
I
were to
guess like
encounter that,
games have that.
I would have thought that it was part of the game themed, right? Since like the world is
Right.
ending,
Yeah,
is like the
yeah, yeah.
game for on purpose trying to get worse and worse.
That would have
Yeah.
been cool.
Yeah, trying to mess
No,
with you.
and I kind of thought that it looked like pixel graphics, but worse. Like like with fuzzy edges.
Mm,
But the menu
Oh,
looked crisp, so I figured
huh.
it like something was wrong. But yeah,
That's
but
weird.
when I fixed that, it was easy breezy.
nice.
No, I enjoy this game, and I'm gonna play it maybe 2 hours more.
Yeah, yeah. Just check it. Get to where I am, and I think you'll decide whether or not you want to play more because the game does
Mm.
change and gets more gamey, if that makes sense.
Right,
Like
right.
less autopilot, like going through the song and stuff like that. Right.
Cool.
Any more thoughts that you wanted to barf out before we move on, Simon?
No, I think I've spoken everything that's on my mind.
Okay.
And I can't wait to give this game a special review in the end.
Yes. I mean, I think that does it for me, and I think we can get moving on to our non-review review of it. What do you guys think?
Awesome.
Sure.
Yeah, as you and I know, and maybe a few viewers, we don't do a letter grading, number grading, percent grading system because we think it's unfair to indie developers. Because sometimes what you do is you go out to tell a story, and it's a very personal story sometimes, and you shouldn't be shat on for wanting to tell a story. But what we like to do is like we try to put ourselves in their shoes and be like, are they trying to what is their vision? We try to see what their vision is, and we try to see how well do you think they executed or conveyed that vision. And we usually say yes or no, but in a fun way. So and we create a custom system for that, right? So
We're basically grading the game.
yeah, well, yeah, based on its own scale, though, right? We're not trying to compare it to any
Yeah.
other game. It's very
Right,
unfair
No,
to do that.
it's
right?
it's a obscure scale, so it
Yeah.
doesn't
So
necessarily.
the scale pertains only to this game and its own merits, right? So,
right.
what do you guys think it should be on
I
a
don't
scale
know.
of 1 to 13?
I think it's a. I mean, for me personally, I think it's a vibrating, beautiful C sharp.
Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 13, vibrating, beautiful C sharps, how
I mean, it
well
could
do
be
you
a
think?
D mall or any note as well.
How about any note?
Yes,
1 to
any note.
13, any notes. How well do we think this developer executed on their vision? Because I think through talking, we have our highs and lows of this game.
Yeah.
And I'll start. Shit.
Mhm.
I think the music was fantastic, and I think if anything, the developer absolutely nailed the music and sound design. It clearly shows they had a lot of love for it. Dialogue and the lack thereof was really charming and really nice. It gets dings for immersion, if that's a thing in this game, was tough because the controls could be clunky. The navigation around the world was a little clunky. The half-baked rhythm game was a little clunky, but those are minor gripes in what is an otherwise wonderful, heartwarming experience. And so I would give it like between 1 and 13, I would give it 9 any note. I would give it 9 B sharps if that's a note.
Beautiful B sharps.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I can't wait to play more. I wanna see, like I just assume that there's gonna be more fun interactions with the singing. Like you said, Ilker, with the snoring. Like that's exactly what, like, the kind of creativity I expect playing forward. So like a high pitched, like, not in a bad way, like beautiful bardy C sharp is my score.
How many?
That's a
From
good
1 to
score,
13.
How many C sharps?
Yeah.
I mean, probably 10, I would say.
Wow, 10. Okay.
On
Very
how
good.
well they executed their vision.
Yes, and I would say to that another bit of charming thing that's just as cute as the snoring, which is, I don't know if you see on the stream, but when you're traveling the world map, the way you travel is with the right stick, which is singing, right? And then you see on the bottom of the screen everyone on the boat singing, so everyone's like singing la 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 la. So it's like an ocean-faring song as you guys are going around. And when you let go and you stop moving, everyone stops singing. And then you move again and everyone starts. It's amazing. Like something like that is just so charming. And also the mermaids are up on the screen.
I hope that's like a short wink to Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Is that what you guys do? Like in Black Flag, they sing?
I mean, in Black Flag, playing? It's all about the shanties, right? Like you sail and you sing.
Yeah. You do that in the I think Sid Meier's Pirates as well. Like you have singing when you're moving.
Oh my
around.
god, I forgot about that game. Jesus.
Deep cut.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want a hint at the mermaids, it's on the stream right now, and it's the first time you encounter. It's fantastic. It's really good.
Yeah.
Ilker, what are your thoughts?
Taking that, like, given that I haven't finished the game, I haven't completed it, so I kind of feel it's unfair to just give it a score. But for like so far, what I've seen of the game, and I definitely believe that the creator they achieve what they are going for. So like the yes no question is yes, they do. I think the game has a lot of charm, and for me that is like the main draw of the game. It is charming. The characters are super charming. They will definitely keep that up. I have no doubt in my heart that they will keep delivering on that. Again, as you mentioned, they introduced a new game mechanic, which is perfect. I think that is exactly what that game needs after 3 chapters. So out of 5 minor Bs, I don't know, minor A's, I would give it a 4 out of 5.
Nice.
Yeah, like, clearly we're not musicians.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
Overall, I'd say it's far from perfect, but what it does right, it does like perfectly.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that is basically what I'm trying to say. Like, that, like, if you take out the score, that is, for me, that is like it is far from perfect, but it really does what it sets out to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Well, any other thoughts on Wandersong, our monthly game for February?
To anyone who haven't played it, like, try it out. Like,
oh right, yeah.
It is an indie game. It will probably be on sale soon. Easter's coming up.
It's $16 right now, right?
Oh, it might be. I bought it for I think it was like $30.
Yeah, I mean,
on Switch, but
we skipped kind of a chunk of what we normally talk about, but it doesn't have any effect necessarily on our bearing on the game and how we scored it and whatnot. But we skipped on like who this game is for. Who do you think this game is for?
I think like a young audience is like would enjoy it. Like, obviously that you have the like simple shapes, the right colors, the fun, like the fun like mechanics and like the characters. But I mean, like this is like one of the few games that I would say it's like anybody can just pick up. And like I know that's like a common thing to say when you review games, and I often I don't necessarily think that's true when people talk about it. But
Right.
this is such a like easy game. It's such a it doesn't. I mean, you talked about it not being a Dance Dance Revolution, like matching your notes in a like a timey fashion, which I think is like opens it up for anyone. Like it's
Yeah.
slow, it's easy.
Yeah, accessible for sure.
Yeah. So I definitely think it's it's slow, fun. Obviously, if you're the kind of person that wanna like play a game forever, you can play this game. Uh, but yeah, so I would definitely say this is a crowd pleaser, but it's not like a rock concert. It's more of a Wonderwall type of situation.
Nice. Yeah, easily approachable, digestible for many people.
Yeah,
Ilker?
for sure. No, that was basically what I was going to say as well. I think the like going back to the Adventure Time, like definitely a younger audience would like enjoy this. But then again, you have like these more adult jokes or these adult themes that could that would draw your interest for an older audience as well. So it's like as Simon mentions, like they could definitely have made the music the music part of the game more complex. But
Right.
then again, they would also kind of alienate a big part of the audience. Like it wouldn't be for anyone. So yeah, it's basically just like echoing what Simon said. Like it is for a broad audience, I guess.
I think for me, I would say broad is pretty accurate because while I think a kid, like a 5-year-old, can pick it up and play along just fine, I think after chapter 3, they would need maybe supervision and play with you because the puzzles do get like Little Nightmares hard.
Sure.
Like
Okay.
they ramp up in complexity, and even the jumping puzzles get pretty complex too because you're like singing to platforms to go in a certain way and get pretty tough. But other than that, with like theme, lightheartedness, like from I would say a supervised 10-year-old and up to anything. And if you like the kind of like Adventure Time, it's like right up your alley. Like definitely, I would recommend it to anyone that likes that kind of stuff. You know.
Yeah.
I guess it's not for people who hate music.
Yeah, no, for people that hate music or like even puzzle games, I guess, because it does get pretty puzzly, for sure.
You guys stay away from this game.
Yeah, everyone else though. Mermaids, people, elderly, it's all for you. You know.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that covers it. That was the only thing that we kind of skipped over, but overall, rock solid start. First 2 games for 2021. Almost said 2019.
Yeah.
Where's my brain?
Yeah.
But with that said, that concludes our monthly discussion for Wandersong. I will play us out, but before that, say goodbye, Ilker and Simon.
Bye.
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 Beautiful.